Welcome to today's mentor session here with me, Shawn Thomas of Accelerators Organization. As a reminder, whenever you're watching one of these videos, whether it's on the YouTube channel or listening to it on SoundCloud or watching it live right here in the Facebook group, if an idea pops into your head as far as asking a question, just pop into the portal here in Accelerators Organization and into your web portal and ask a question. The more questions you ask, the more perspective and advice and maybe even introductions to people that are going to be performed for you here in AO so that we can better help you accomplish your goals. So whenever you have a question, and remember, no question is dumb. We all need help. What you don't know, you don't know. So just ask, and that's what we're here for, okay? All right, so let's get started with today's questions. The first question comes from Carrington, and Carrington says, what is the best way to handle an upset client over an invoice reminder? The background is I'm a commercial product photographer, and I had an automated email sent out reminding a client that their invoice was coming due. This email was not well received. The client is pissed, and the marketing manager with the company emailed me, asking me to email the owner and apologize for sending the reminder. What is the best course of action to take in a situation like this? Well, in that situation specifically, I would pick up the phone and I would call the owner and let them know that that's part of the processes. You weren't trying to be rude or disrespectful, and maybe ask what would be the best way for that process to be done for that client. Every client's a little bit different, and as we get to know our clients, we will continue to build out processes. Generally speaking, for yourself, Carrington, since you're a single person operator, you're not dealing with hundreds and hundreds of clients where you have like an accounts receivable person or an accounts payable person. Your relationships are probably a little bit deeper with your clients, and you can probably customize your billing processes with your clients. The last thing we want to do, of course, is be rude or disrespectful or a nuisance. And sometimes we just think that we are doing something and this is the way it is, but obviously we're not taking into consideration what somebody else might think. So in this particular situation, I would pick up the phone, I would call, I would apologize, and just say, what is the best way for you to continue invoicing them and just get on the same page? That's what I would do. I always think it's best just to talk to the person to find out what's the best solution. Instead of trying to speculate and think about and guess, let's just have a good old-fashioned conversation and find out what the best course of action is going to be. All right? It usually helps in almost any type of relationship. The more we try to assume what somebody's thinking, boy, the more times we're wrong. Okay, the next question comes from Carrington, and Carrington says, what are the necessary legal steps to take when securing a new office space? The background is I am a commercial brand photographer. I've come to accept I have outgrown my home studio space and want to look into larger space to rent. Other than finding the space and paying rent, what are the other obligations that are necessary? Well, generally speaking, you might just want to take a look at the lease that you're going to be signing. And if it were me and I was going to, and this comes from experience, if it were me and I was going to look at renting office space, I would put together a 12-month projection of cash flow based on not only my historical numbers, but what moving into the new space, what that would do as far as new influx of my cash flow and what other expenses there would be. Dan Abate is really good at this. He really is strong at putting together these type of projections for cash flow for, like a 12-month projection. I would really want to make sure that I am busting at the seams in my small space and I have so much overload that I just can't handle it anymore before I start to rent out and take on an obligation of bigger space that would put more financial burden on the company. But I do want to continue to move down that path and be in progress to get that commercial space. But there's a lot of things you want to take into consideration. Legally, I'm not sure. I know you live in Canada. You're up in Upper East Coast. Legally, I don't know what things you'd need to look for. I would look at cancellation clauses. What happens if you can't afford to pay? Can you have a buyout of your lease of X amount of months instead of the entire rest of the lease? Take a look at who is going to repair what when things go wrong at the office space. Inevitably, there's always something that goes wrong with your house or your office space. And it's nice to know Who's going to pay for what? Are there any deductibles? What are you responsible for? What are they responsible for? Is the water in your name? Is the electricity in your name? Are you just paying them? So I would look to all those little things. Who do I know that is renting space? You might want to talk to Michelle and Lisa, who are in Pennsylvania, and they have a bridal boutique, and they have office space, and they just went through this. They just expanded. I would recommend speaking to one of them because they probably have good experience of knowing what to look for in the lease. You might also want to take a look at talking with Sarah Hamilton, Pinky's Chop Shop. She owns her own barber salon. I don't think she owns the building. I think she leases, so she might have some good experience. And I know that she's negotiated some things like that. Nick Barrent, HVAC company in Chicago. I know he has lease space. You might want to talk to him. You could also talk to Deanna Kell. She is a med spa esthetician, and I know she just expanded. So she probably has a lot of experience with negotiating a lease and what to look for as well. So reach out to your other AO members and get some help from them, okay? Okay, the next question comes from Sochi, and Sochi says, is there an inexpensive / free email blast application that you can recommend? Background is I launched a product in the beauty and wellness category and would like to send email blasts introducing and speaking about my product in hopes to start creating name recognition and to promote my product. Can these email blasts be filtered specific to the beauty and wellness industry? Okay, I think MailChimp is free, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe Constant Contact, but they don't come with emails. You have to actually input the emails. So you'd have to create some sort of digital marketing program to start getting email addresses. And then email is very, very time consuming and complicated from the setup perspective and then managing the data. I know it sounds simple to just send an email, but I tell you, it's a big rabbit hole. I've been down this road myself. The platform is the easiest thing to find, but then you want to figure out how to get emails. And there's a ton of different strategies you can use to attract people to fill out some sort of opt-in form or get on your email list from your website. I would talk with Gabor. I would talk with Jesse Navarro. I would also think that Kristen Lattis, Kristin, Kristen Lattis might have some help for you there. She's a copywriter. Email marketing is very time consuming, can get very complex depending on how far you want to go down the rabbit hole. Generally speaking, I want to subcontract that out to somebody who can do that for me. And I would think that you can find somebody that for $500 to $1,000 a month, if that's the route you want to go. But let me caution you with this, Sochi, because I know where you are in your business. It can get to be very expensive working, as we talked about at the Summer Social. It can get very expensive subcontracting and hiring people to do marketing for you. I really, really, really want you to start working on what your real business model is going to be. And if I were you, I would get on the weekly Zooms with Dan Abate, and I would really start hiring him as a coach or getting on his weekly Zooms if hiring him as a coach is not in your budget. You have got to figure out what your business model is going to be. Email marketing can be a part of that, but that is not an entire marketing strategy, because to get emails, you have to have this strategy ahead of time of how to get emails, how to get people to visit an opt-in page or something to get your emails, to get their email address. It's a very, very complex, time-consuming, and usually it's best to leave that to somebody who really knows what they're doing. I would not urge everybody to learn how to become an expert email marketer on their own. That's a multi-million-dollar business just doing that for companies and themselves. And it's very, very time-consuming, and it's very complex. But MailChimp and Constant Contact, I think, are free. I'm not sure. I recommend ActiveCampaign. If you're simply looking for an email software, I recommend ActiveCampaign. That's the one from all my digital marketer friends. They say ActiveCampaign is one of the top. And it's not, none of them are going to be that expensive, at most $100 a month. Okay, the next question comes from Rohit. And Rohit says, how do I approach convenience stores to sell my products? What should I say? The background is I sell exotic snacks and drinks from around the world and would like to place my products in convenience stores, but not sure how to approach them, like what to say for my pitch. Okay, Rohit, I am a great salesperson, but I am not a great sales trainer. If I were you, I would invest $500 and hire Tom Black to help you put together your pitch, your objection handling answers, so that you can get out there and start calling on convenience stores. One of my really good friends, he calls on convenience stores, and he does a couple things. He will fly around the country and visit 10 to 20 stores in a 3-day period and talk with the people that work there, figure out where they buy from, how they buy, who do they buy from as far as distributors, or do they go straight directly to a manufacturer? And then he gets to know their process and figures out how they buy. And he has a process for that. He's been doing it for years. He's an expert at this. But if it were me, I would hire Tom Black and pay him $500 to help you figure out how to do that. But the worst thing you can do, or the worst thing is you would call on some convenience stores, even if you didn't have a good pitch, and you'd say, hey, my name is Rohit. I offer exotic snacks and drinks, and I was wondering what I would be able to do to sell these to you. What's your process? And then just have dialogue and answer their questions and go through their process. I wouldn't make it any more complicated than that since you're just starting out. But if this is the business that you're going to build, selling to convenience stores, the only way to really learn that industry is to get out there and start talking to as many convenience stores as possible and start asking questions, and they're going to give you answers. Okay? Hope that helps. Okay, the next question comes from Joshua Grant. And Joshua says, how do you know when it is time to expand your facilities? I am a welding and fabrication business that does a lot of different things, mainly handrails, but we will take any project. I feel as if the problem now is that I'm outgrowing my shop space due to tools and machinery. I feel as if I add more people, everyone will be working on top of everyone. You know, I tell you, Joshua, that sounds like a great problem to have. It sounds like a great problem when you've got so much work and you can hire so many people that you've got to expand. I would certainly take a look at whether, here's something that you could also take a look at doing. If you've got a space that during normal business hours are really busy, what about creating a second or third shift? Maybe there are people that have full-time jobs that could work a second or third shift at night that could actually use the space when it's not real busy. I had a call center for my last company, and during the day, during peak times, we had it was full. And we thought about increasing the space. Then I said, well, wait a second. Right now we're handling it. You know, that's okay. But if we wanted to get more production out of the space, why don't we have a second and third shift to do things? There was also computer repair and some other things. That meant we were able to keep the same space and keep our costs low while being able to increase production and efficiency. So that might be an option for you. But it sounds like it's a great problem to have when you have so much business coming in that you've got to get a bigger space. I would get with Dan Abate, and I would start putting together a 12-month projection of your cash flow, of what it would look like if you got a bigger space. What would the cost be? New insurance, utilities, manpower, everything that you're going to need to run that new space. What does it look like from a cash flow perspective so that you're making a decision based on data? It's nice to have some instinctual thoughts and beliefs on why you need to do something and what. But I always like to, in these types of situations when we're talking about increasing our overhead, I like to trust the data and put together a projection for that. Okay, that's what I would do. All right, hope that helps, man. Keep us posted on that, man. That's a great problem to have. Okay, the next question comes from Gabor, and Gabor says, how do you deal with criticism of your product mentally? The background is our company recently launched a subscription site that's better than anything else in the market by far. However, as can be expected, critics soon turned up in our inbox in the comments and in the comments section. Some unfair criticism as well as some fair criticism of things that we're currently fixing. But at the same time, we're talking about a brand new product that's less than a week old. So of course, there are a few things here and there that need to be fixed and improved. I'm very good at responding to feedback like this and disarming arguments, but at the same time, I take the criticism very personally and it's killing me inside. I'd appreciate any tips on how to deal with this on a personal level as well as our official responses. I tell you, Gabor, this is something that I dealt with in my last company, and the best thing I did was I hired someone else to deal with it. Someone who had the type of personality that was very serving, and I trained them to be patient. Sometimes when we are very attached to something and somebody criticizes it, it's very easy to let our ego get into play. And if you hire someone to be a customer service person to take care of these things for you and only escalate certain things to you, that is more for not hating or trolling of comments, but people that have legitimate recommendations and advice and feedback, that will free up a lot of the emotion that you're going through. But at the end of the day, ask yourself, why are you taking it personal? It's not like they're showing up at your condo and saying, hey, Gabor, you suck. They're just saying that they don't like something that your company is doing. They're not saying that it's you. So ask yourself, why are you letting your ego get into play? Why are you letting your pride get into play? Take a breath. Remember that you're there to serve your community. And I'm sure you know how to recognize what is legitimate feedback and what is something somebody's just being rude. Disregard the ones that are rude. Let that not even just... Find a way to work through that on an ongoing basis and then keep moving forward. It's obviously, being an entrepreneur is very, very emotional. Sometimes it's hard when someone's criticizing our work, but we learn over time that they're criticizing our work, not us personally. They're not our good friends, right? And that just comes with time and maturity and experience. And like I said, one of the things that helped me out was hiring a customer service agent to deal with that stuff. Because I was so busy focusing on new stuff and vision and the bigger things that I didn't want to listen to some guy say, I think this sucks. Cool, thanks, man, appreciate it. Have a great day. Okay, the next question comes from Gabor. And Gabor says, how do you effectively manage your time in the long term? The background is, in the past, I never understood how leading CEOs and business owners can have calendars filled up for months or even years in advance. As a starting business owner, I was always just focused on doing the next thing. However, at this point, I have so many commitments, plans, and ideas I want to execute, as well as people demanding access to my time, that this has become impossible. I feel overwhelmed and can't dedicate the kind of focus to any one task I'd like. Because when I finish a world-class job, instead of feeling fulfilled, I gasp at my to-do list being filled with 15 other things. And this is in spite of me having learned to say no to a lot of things. And I'd appreciate any tips on realistically planning my commitments for the weeks/months ahead, becoming committed to one thing at a time, and effectively communicating to other people that, sorry, your super urgent and important thing might get done in 3 months or later. Okay, this is absolutely common. Do you really think that Tim Cook, that is the CEO of Apple, do you think he manages every single thing in the world of Apple all across the world? No. Leaders, we want to build our team around us. Generally speaking, the rule of thumb is somewhere between 6 and 11 people. We want no more than 6 to 11 people reporting to us, and we become the managers of people. And we come up with a vision, and then we go to our team of 6 to 11 people, and that team of 6 to 11 people, they execute on the vision. Now, delegation is the way to get more and more things done. It's just that simple. And if your time is, skewed too much to not getting enough done, this might be a time to start looking about how you can delegate. Obviously, delegating sometimes can be very, very difficult, because then we have the painstaking time it takes to extrapolate everything out of our brain and put it into processes, so that then we can hire someone, train them, manage them, lead them, keep managing them. And that can be time consuming as well. And sometimes we need a buffer of a manager in between the projects that need to get done and the people that can manage those people. That's what I would look at. Where are the places that you could hire somebody to do some of the things that need to get done that you can't do on your own? And if you've set up a system that you're the only person that can do the things that need to get done, then we need to work on your leadership skills, because it doesn't matter what job there is in a company. everybody is replaceable. Even you, even me, everybody is replaceable. Because if you got hit by a bus and you were out for a year, the job would get done. Somebody would figure out a way to get the job done. I would start figuring out ways to duplicate yourself in the areas of which that you can delegate, get somebody trained so that you can get more and more done and continue to grow yourself and the company. That's what I would do. Also, I don't know if it's in the portal yet, but Dan Truex, he did a 90-minute talk in class at the summer social this year, and we're putting his materials up in the portal at some point. I don't think it's there yet. And he's actually going to do a training on Zoom to talk about how he manages his time and uses his calendar. He's amazing. He talks about discipline and time management, and that'll be coming soon if I can get Dan to go ahead and get that done. But delegation, I think, is an area that you could explore, Yabs. Okay, the next question comes from Mariel, and Mariel says, should I be 1099 or W-2 right now? The background is currently I give out opportunities rather than schedules. I am an event-based business and no one works if no one calls. As soon as I receive a call, I first reach out to my prime pick for said event, then scroll down the log until I hit a winner. It is approximately 2 to 4 gigs a month for top team members currently. Some HR and payroll companies say I need to make an immediate shift. Meanwhile, my best friend that still operates my old cleaning business gives an actual schedule and has been giving 1099 for years. I'm confused. Absolutely, from my experience in your business, Mariel, you are a gig type of business, not set hours. I would 100% recommend 1099 without a question of a doubt. Now, I don't like to give tax advice. I would certainly say to get on the next Zoom with Tyler or Jeff Bruno, where they talk about financials. They're both CPAs. They're both high-level knowledge of taxes and accounting, and I would confirm it with them, but I would do 1099. Okay, the background is, the next question comes from Shawn, and Shawn says, for social media engagement for a new business, when should I use my business account versus my personal account when joining other social media groups, i.e. Facebook groups? The background is I have a new online service, masterestimate.com, that I've created a Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn business account for social media engagement. I'm identifying different groups to join related to my target audience, general contractors, and real estate investors. When joining some of the groups, I'm prompted to use either my personal or business account. Since the business account is new with little content, what are recommendations and pros and cons of using my business versus personal? So my opinion is, based on doing this myself, I join everything under my personal Facebook account. I always do everything under my personal Facebook account. And remember, just joining a group doesn't actually do anything for you in any way, shape, or form. That's not a clear marketing strategy, just joining a group. So make sure that you have a clear strategy of how you're going to market your products and services. Generally speaking, Facebook groups don't like people spamming and soliciting and things like that. So one of the ways that I found in Facebook groups was to really get involved and just start offering good resources and experience sharing and helping people and answer their questions and building up relationships and things like that. And then eventually somebody asks, what do you do? And sometimes if it's a good Facebook group, the administrator from time to time will say, hey, everybody, why don't you put in here what you do and all that type of stuff. But generally speaking, when I get into Facebook groups, I don't do it as much for marketing. I do it more to learn from other people in my industry. I think it's too passive to join Facebook groups a lot of times just to get business. I really want to develop relationships, and I want to find a way that I can find out where my target clients are and where I can reach out to them. And generally speaking, most Facebook groups, even though there is some good marketing there, most Facebook groups, they don't like people spamming and advertising their services, because that's what everybody wants to do. Everybody just wants to join a Facebook group, post that here's what I do, and everybody please come buy from me. And that's why a lot of people don't find success doing it, and a lot of people don't like Facebook groups. But I would join under my personal Facebook account. I would have a good Facebook profile of my name, where I'm geographically located, links to my website. I would have some good content on my Facebook profile, that I'm sharing resources. I would keep it clean from personal stuff, and I would make it all about business and serving the community if you're going to use Facebook to try to get business. Okay, hope that helps. Okay, the next question comes from Mariel, and Mariel says, should I try and get out of a 1-year contract with print advertising? The background is I was overjoyed when magazines and other advertisers reached out in the beginning. I didn't realize how much these costs would pile up on me out of season. One quarter page print ad for just one neighborhood is $200 a month. I was promised a feature in the future and said I wanted to wait until season to do that. I have already run 3 months, $600. Should I just call it a loss and beg to be left out of the contract? Or should I wait since season is around the corner and all the residents will be returning soon? I mean, there's a lot of different factors that go into that. There's a lot of different factors. Advertising is one of those things that it's a lot about brand awareness, and the longer that you advertise, the more your name gets out there and the more people remember it. And so you really want to look at advertising with a long-term strategy. However, if you are crunched for cash and it's not actually bringing you any business today, sometimes you have to cut that off and make sure that your money's going in the places that you are getting a return on investment. So I would just weigh the pros and cons. Am I getting anything out of it? If I'm not, and I'm on a cash flow crunch, I would try to get out of the contract. But I also know that my business needs some form of sales or marketing strategy. So I'd have to really ascertain what is the best way that I'm going to get business both out of season and in season. And I really want to focus on driving revenue in all the different areas that I know do work. Food for thought. Okay, the next question comes from Ricardo. And Ricardo says, how can I start a company culture and build your employees to follow that culture? I'm looking to build up professional barbers within my barbershop. The background is I'm building my brand and business into a culture. I want to have my employees build their careers within the company. I'm having trouble finding where to market and what we benefit if they join us. Okay, well, creating a culture, is very simple. The first thing I would do is I would come up with a set of core values, anywhere from 5 to 7 core values. If you go into the AO Resource Center, go into the branding category, there is a brand strategy 101 document that you can print out, and that can help you understand how to develop your core values. I think there's also some additional information in the branding section of the Resource Center as well. The next thing is it's really important to create a path for your barbers. So if you say that you want to create a culture, well, what does that culture look like? And then if you say that you want to help them build their careers within the company, well, what does that look like? What does it look like for the first 6 months they're with you? What's the goal at the end of 6 months? What's the goal at the end of a year? What's the goal after 18 months, 24 months, 36 months? What are you doing to help those barbers further their career? What kind of brand loyalty are you putting into place? Like, who's to say you're going to do all this great stuff for these barbers and then they're not going to take that great information and take it somewhere else? One of the things that we can do to build loyalty, and we call them golden handcuffs, is maybe you start offering stock options in your company, and you say, hey, listen, the longer you work here, the more profit share you might build. You could do profit sharing, you could do stock options, you could do a lot of different things. You could offer more vacation time. You could offer different incentive increases in commission the longer they're there or the more volume they do. But I would start trying to put into place what tangible things are you doing that incentivize your team and your culture so that you can explain, this is what we do that other barbershop owners don't do. And I would certainly network with other barbershop owners to find out what they do to truly determine if you are differentiating a certain culture within your barbershop. But it should be tangible what you do. X amount of time off, X amount of pay, X amount of money to go towards certifications, sending them to workshops, getting awards, going to the award shows, submitting to the award shows. All those types of things are culture building. Someone who's really good at that is Sarah Hamilton at Pinky's Chop Shop. They just won another award. They always win. And Sarah is a fantastic person at branding. And I know I've connected you with her before. Okay, the next question comes from Nancy. And Nancy says, what is the best way to invest $5,000 in the beginning stage of a business? The background is starting a jewelry business with one B2B client and a few individual customers. Okay, what is the best way to invest $5,000 at the beginning? Nancy, I have absolutely zero idea how to answer that question. I really don't even understand the question. I mean, I get it from a question perspective, but what's the best way to invest $5,000? Let me think about this. I mean, I just take my mind immediately goes to what am I doing in business? I am creating a product, jewelry, and I want to sell it. Who am I going to sell it to? So I want to invest money in inventory so that I can go out there and sell it. So I would invest money in inventory and I'd invest money in sales processes and a sales strategy. That's probably where I would look to invest. Now, it also depends on whether or not you go out there and you get orders without the inventory. You get the order and then you come build it and then you sell it to them. So that way you might not need as much inventory. So it really depends on your sales process of how you sell your jewelry. But those are the two areas that I would look at: selling and inventory. I'm going to get a couple more people to try to answer this one, but that's a tough one. You might need to book a get out of jail call. You've been in this cycle of the beginning for a long time now. And I know you're overseas and people over in Europe, you guys always move slow because there's something about you Europeans. I don't know if you guys ever work or you're always in siesta taking naps. But you've been in this beginning stage for a long, long time. And I'd like to see you get out of the beginning stage. My guess is that you're having a really hard time with sales and you might need to buck it up and find somebody to do sales for you. Because you've been in this beginning stage for a long time. And I'd like to see you get out of that, okay? Maybe book a get out of jail call with me and let's talk about it. Okay, the next question comes from Asia. And Asia asks, what are some books I can read about creating and managing Facebook ads? Other resources are fine too. I just prefer reading. The background is the purpose of Prep LLC is a one-stop shop for everything study skills, college admissions, and SAT prep for high school students and their parents. We help them navigate the college admissions process, prep for the SAT, and obtain great grades by providing tutoring, college prep, and SAT prep services. So that part of your business description needs to go in your elevator pitch, Asia, FYI. I'm asking this question as I am great at filming, editing, and know the messaging that attracts my type of client. So I want to learn more about the creating and managing of Facebook ads to test some different ad types. Okay, Asia. I don't like to hear you doing all these things. Every time you're spending money on creating content, filming, editing, doing messaging, running Facebook ads, it tells me that you're not earning any money. It tells me that you're not working with your actual client to actually make any money. Do you want to become a Facebook advertising and digital marketer? And that's the business that you want to go into, so you want to develop that skill set? And if that's the case, then yes, go for it and just forget about the purpose of prep. Okay? Because you make money working with clients. Focus on working with clients. And you don't need to run complex Facebook ads and funnels and all that stuff to get clients. We've talked about this many times. Get out there and network with parents. Okay, there are lots of places that you can network with parents. Go network with them and find out how to start working with their kids. It really, really concerns me with the amount of revenue that I know that you're bringing in. That tells me why you're only bringing in that revenue. It's because you're not getting out there and talking to enough people. You're a service-based business. Go talk to people in the community. Get referrals. I don't like to hear that you're running into doing all of these Facebook ads and so forth, and the reason why is most small businesses that try to do this stuff on their own, they lose all their money because they don't know what they're doing and they don't know how to do it, and they end up losing all their money. So it's like a double whammy. You're not only losing money with the money that you put into advertising, which might be nominal, but do you want to lose $100? I don't. But you also lose all the time that it takes to teach yourself and learn it. And you're not going to be in that business. You're in the business of helping. You're in the business of becoming a one-stop shop for everything study skills, college administrations, and SAT prep. So why would you want to become an expert at Facebook ads and marketing? It's good for you to know kind of how it works, but hire someone else to do it for you. It's that simple. And if you don't have the budget to hire someone to do it for you, then get out there organically and start talking to people and building relationships, okay? Facebook ads in digital marketing is extremely complex. I mean, if you want to read some books, the books are out there for ClickFunnels. Russell Brunson, all of the ClickFunnels books that he recommends, those are the things that all the expert digital marketers, that's what they do. They go to conferences, they go to workshops, they hire coaches, they get in their own Facebook groups. It is extremely, extremely complex to understand digital marketing. And you're not in that business. And my advice to you is to not get in that business. Hire somebody to do that stuff for you, okay? But the ClickFunnels books, those are the best books to watch from what I understand. Or read, I should say. Okay, the next question comes from Asia. And Asia says, what resources or courses are there to help me develop an automated webinar for my standalone college administration's course called Camp? Or is there another marketing idea that is better for selling online courses like mine? The purpose of Prep is a one-stop shop for everything study skills, college admissions, and SAT prep for high school students and their parents. We help them navigate the college administration process, prep for SAT, and obtain great grades by providing tutoring, college prep, and SAT prep services. I have a course that is self-paced, simple, and full of information on the 5 steps for the college administration process. It is placed at $500 and would include a private Facebook group where I answer questions on live, and they can collaborate and other parents and students. It is a one-time fee, and they get access to the course and group for a year. I want to know what marketing tactics I could use to market it, as I was thinking of an automated webinar and ads would be best. Gosh, that's overwhelming just reading all of that. I don't know anybody that I could send you to help you learn how to put together an automated webinar, except for maybe Gabs, who's in the group, and I know that he is slammed. I can tell you, going down this path myself, Asia, that those people that will coach you on this, they charge $5,000 to $10,000 just to walk you through how to set up all this stuff. I have not seen any really good, competent coach or online program to teach you how to do all this stuff that it would not cost you anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 minimum. Would you please book a get out of jail call with me? Because I feel you keep spending so much time on everything except going out there and talking with your potential clients. It's like you're having a resistance to talking to people, and you just want to put out some content and have people buy it, but you don't want to talk to anybody. And that concerns me for your business, because your business is dealing with kids and parents, and we need to talk about this a little bit more. Would you please book a get out of jail call with me, and let's talk about this. Okay. All right. The next question comes from Carrington. And Carrington says, what are ways or systems to track customer satisfaction throughout projects from start to finish? The background is I'm a commercial product photographer. What are the best ways to track how customers feel throughout project duration from start to finish? Ask them. Talk to them. Hey, Joe. How are you feeling? Everything's going. It looks like we're meeting all of our milestones on time. You feeling good? Awesome. You are great. Good to see you. Talk to you tomorrow. Hey, Joe, How are you feeling? Everything feel good? We're hitting all of our milestones on task. Everything is going great. Are you doing okay? No, Carrington, I'm actually not happy. I would rather it be this way. Okay, cool, Joe. Thanks for telling me that. Let's go ahead and make sure we implement that. It's called a conversation. Carrington, go talk to your customers and ask them how they're feeling. And they will tell you. Believe me, I've been on both sides. As a customer, I'll tell somebody if I'm not happy. And if I am the service provider and I'll ask and say, is everything good? And I just kind of play the conversation. Easy breezy. Okay, next question comes from Robin. And Robin says, how many park drawings will you need this year for gifts? Is this an acceptable create a need question for a prospect? The background is Art for Calm. When people approach me while I work at my easel on location, I am learning what to say. Okay, so you're asking if this question would create a need. How many park drawings will you need this year for gifts? Well, that might be a good question if you've already ascertained that people are out there gifting. So a question I might ask instead, Robin, if I'm talking to somebody, when buying art, do you only buy for yourself or do you ever gift it to somebody else? And it also would depend on your price point. Like if your price point is in the $20, $30, $50 or maybe $100 or whatever, it might be a lot more open for people buying it as gifts. But if your art is $20,000, then people might not buy a gift for somebody for $20,000. So I might want to ask a prospect who comes up to my easel, oh, I really like your art. That's really good stuff. Cool. Would you mind me asking, how often do you buy art? Do you have an average price range that you spend when you're buying art, or is it just based on how you feel about the art? Have you ever thought about buying art as a gift? Something that you like. And if so, what would be the price range of that art? Do you look for original art only? Are you okay buying prints? And those are kind of some of the questions that I would ask. All right, hope that helps, Robin. And the last question comes from Kyle. And Kyle says, what is the process you go through or questions to ask when solving a problem? The background is I consult businesses on their warehouse supplies and logistic needs to help uncover the small expenses that can be turned into more profits for their business. During my calls, I'm looking for the problems with the supplies used to ship and receive products that are not clearly visible so I can help the business by increasing their cash flow. Kyle, this is one that I would certainly 100% unequivocally, without a doubt, I would book a call with Tom Black, shoot me an email, and I would have this conversation with Tom, and I would have him help you with your sales processes. 100%. You do actually really good money when you get out there, and I can't believe I might have not already told you that. I think you should hire Tom Black. You have a great business. You've got great opportunity with your business. And this type of question you're asking tells me that we just need to create a great, simple sales process for you with the right questions to ask, the answers to the most common objections. And Tom is expert level at this, and he will help double your business in the next 12 months. 100%. But to answer your question the best that I can, I'm not a sales coach, but if I'm in sales, what's the process I go through? Okay, so let me take it back to my last company, Uniguest, where I sold to hotels. And I was trying to put a computer in the lobby of the hotel so that when hotel guests stayed at the hotel, they had a computer to use. This was back in the day when we didn't have smartphones and laptops and iPads and things like this. So it was very new and a novel idea. Well, the only way that I found out was I had to prove the concept of the business model. So I went to some hotels and I said, hey, Joe, the general manager. Hey, Joe, my name's Shawn Thomas. I'm the CEO of Uniguest. And I've come up with a solution to put a computer in your lobby so that when guests stay here, they have access to the internet and to be able to print out directions and get maps and do all those types of things. And Joe, in the beginning days, it was an unproven concept, and Joe would say, Shawn, I don't think that people would use that, and it's not really in my budget, but I just don't know if people would use that. And so I basically just said, okay, Joe, I'll tell you what if I put it in your lobby for free? What if I put it in your lobby for free and then we just test it and see if people are going to use it? You know, your whole goal at a hotel is to provide great amenities. That's why you offer soap and shampoo and a TV and a telephone and a bed and all these things in the room. You offer amenities that are going to get people to stay at your hotel, right? Well, I know that there's more and more people that are traveling that need access to the internet. And by having this computer in the lobby, I think that people will use it, and that's going to be a great benefit to your hotel. So why don't we test it? I'll put one in your hotel lobby and let's see if people use it. And then if they do, then we can talk about budget. Okay, great. I did that in the beginning. I proved the concept. Then I went back to the hotel and I said, okay, cool. This computer system is $1,000 and I'll charge you an annual contract of $300. So that way, if and when it breaks, because computers break, you call me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I'll make sure it gets fixed. How does that sound? Is that in your budget? And because I didn't really understand the hotel budgets in the beginning, so I just basically based my prices on what I would need to survive as an entrepreneur and be able to pay my bills. I was building out my business, right? And I found that $300 was actually a pretty okay, simple sale. And I was getting a lot more sales selling it at $300 a year. Eventually, I increased the prices to $400 and then $450 and then $500. And then ultimately we ended up at $600 over time. Once we really built out the business and proved, that people were going to use it and it was becoming a standard in the industry. So the process that I go through to solve problems is to go out there and have conversations with my customers and get to know their industry better, find out their pain points, find out what they're looking to do, figure out what their budgets are. And then I want to base my questions in the sales process around leading them down the process to where ultimately we come to a good situation where they like my product and service and they want to buy it. And that's the way that I like to solve problems. I like to ask questions. I like to do my research. I like to get to know everything about it and then solve the problem. And then sometimes I'm going to be able to solve the problem, and sometimes I'm not. I'm not going to be able to close every single person and every customer or prospect that I come encounter with. But I can build a relationship every time, and I can become known as the expert, that I know their business, I understand their business. And if they ever want to switch vendors, or they ever want to see and have me come in and audit and figure out where I could save them money or make them more money, they're gonna remember me. Hey, you know what? I remember that Shawn guy. He always said that if I was ever interested in having an audit performed at my business of the things that he does, that he thinks he could save me money or make me money. And you know what? I like him. I'm going to give him a chance. So that might be something you can do. Hey, John, my company, Kwood Properties, I'm just looking at your email. My company performs free audits around these areas of your business. And we will provide you an audit and show you that there are ways that you could be saving or making more money that would be real addition to your bottom line. No obligation. Of course, I want to do business with you, but at the end of the day, the worst case scenario is I'm going to provide you an audit and you're going to have some ideas on where you can save or make more money, whether it's with me or another vendor. But I'm going to be trying to win your business. So that might be something that you could do as well. Okay, that is the last question. That was a lot of questions. I hope you guys got some good value from this. Keep asking your questions in the portal. And listen, remember, in the beginning, it's very important to build out your business model. If you're having a really hard time just figuring out your business model of things that you can do today to get clients and to make sales, get on the weekly Zooms with the mentors, especially Dan Abate, me in branding, and Tom Black in sales and marketing. Really, really important that we get your business model down so that you know how to get clients. In the very beginning of your business, the most important thing is to figure out how to make some money so you can pay your bills and you're not stressed. We got to figure out what that business model is so that at some point we can start building the foundation around it so that you can start pressing the gas and hiring people and growing the business by growing more team members, okay? Hope you have a great day, morning, or night, wherever you are in the world, and I will see you on the next mentor session. Peace out.